With the 10th pick in the 2010 NBA Draft, the Indiana Pacers select Paul George of Fresno State University.
This man right here, this great, talented, skilled man, one of the most talented and skilled players to ever touch a basketball, one of the most smoothest and graceful basketball players to ever touch the hardwood, and more importantly, in my opinion, one of the most resilient players in the game. At his best, he was viewed and considered an MVP candidate, viewed as a top 3 two-way player in the game, a top 10 to 15 player in the league, a defensive ace on the perimeter, and the top 3 to 5 small forward in the league, battling it out nightly with the best of the best that the position has to offer, in which some are being the greatest ever. All I gotta say is, the slander and disrespect needs to stop. Now. It needs to be put to rest immediately. I be seeing all y'all casuals and all the things y'all say to try to diminish this man and his legacy. But when he does legendary things, excuse my English, but y'all asses are nowhere to be found. If you have not caught on to who I'm talking about, you could clearly see, ladies and gentlemen, that this is rated PG-13. Paul George. And yes, whether you like to hear it or not, or believe it or not, he has a legit case to be considered a top 75 player all time. Drafted in 2010 by the Indiana Pacers with the 10th pick, PG showed the abilities, skill set, intangibles, and potential to become one of the most lethal and best wings dedicated to impacting both ends of the floor. Something that he has gone on to prove to this day, going strong still. Offensively, he is up there with some of the greatest offensive players in NBA history with his skills and talent. Shall I name a few? Durant, Jordan, Kobe, T-Mac. He is a fundamentally sound 3-level skilled scorer who, with his size and length and ability to handle the ball so well, he's a matchup nightmare that could kill you in various ways. Again, he's a great ball handler, could attack the rim and finish around the paint in many ways, has a smooth stroke, deadly from mid-range, and is well accurate from deep on the 3. Could go to work in the post. He's silky smooth, polished, crafty, can create off the dribble for himself and for others. He could basically turn into a point forward and become the team's offensive initiator, spreading the floor and playmaking to give his teammates better opportunities. And lastly, he's athletic, and for some reason unknown to most, he's clutch. Defensively, with his physical tools and smarts, he's able to just not only guard the opposing team's best perimeter player, but most of the time generally their best player in general, depending on the matchups. He could pick your pocket, get into the passing lanes, while also disrupting an opponent's opportunity to get off a good shot, making him take a difficult shot because of his length. This is all highlighted with so far career averages of 20 points per game and nearly 2 steals per contest. I personally believe why PG was overlooked and not considered to be on the list is because out of all of his contemporaries that are on the list that he has played against, there's this belief that compared to them, he has not accomplished anything to be considered noteworthy, and he hasn't shown up in important games when it has mattered the most. Now, excuse my English, but that is total bullshit. Believe it or not, the Playoff P nickname is well deserved for PG-13 because there is a whole bunch of times he has come up big to save his team from elimination or even making a series competitive. More importantly, as the lead guy on a playoff or championship contending team, he is not only just the main reason for why they even made it into the playoffs, but he's also the reason why they were able to go deep into the playoffs. You guys questioned his work ethic and his mentality during the recent years, but forgot how hard he had to work in order to get to where he is now. Being part of a really good Pacers team, he had to be patient and work hard before he could get his opportunity to shine. This resulted in him winning Most Improved in 2013. As his superstardom was ascending, a bump in the road happened as during the 2014 USA scrimmage, he suffered a gruesome leg injury. Most would have deterred, but not him. Bouncing back into elite superstar status and even becoming very more better as a basketball player since the injury. So far in his prime, he has been able to average 23 points per game, 7 rebounds, and 4 assists, along with 2 steals. And as he entered the playoffs, his stats will go up by averaging almost like 24 to 25 points per game, 8 rebounds, and 5 assists. He's a 7-time All-Star, a 6-time All-NBA player, a 4-time All-Defensive Team, a constant top 15 player in the league, a constant top 5 small forward in the league, and one of the league's premier two-way players. He has done nothing but legendary things to show his greatness, and yet y'all do nothing but just throw hate on this dude's name. If you have for some reason forgotten, let me just help remind you guys how Paul George has carved out his name into superstardom ascension in this league. In 2013 and 2014, as the best player on a championship contending Indiana Pacers team, Paul George put his name on the map by battling it out with prime LeBron James at his athletic peak, going up against the almighty Big Three Miami Heat with D Wade and Chris Bosh, making the series competitive, sending it into 7 games, potentially having opportunity to add a stain to LeBron's legendary legacy, putting up some early rememberable playoff moments, like the clutch shot making in Game 1 of the 2013 conference finals, even sending the game into overtime, going at it with prime Bron, bucket for bucket within those clutch moments. Game 2, the dunk on Birdman, and Game 6, putting up 28 points to save Indiana from elimination. 2014, Game 5, he puts up 21 of his 37 points in the fourth quarter in order to save Indiana from being eliminated by Miami. Want some recent ones? 2018, Game 5 against the Utah Jazz. He puts up 34 points to help lead a 25-point comeback to save OKC from being eliminated. Just this past playoffs, going against the top-seeded Utah Jazz, with the series tied 2 games apiece, the Clippers are immediately written off after Kawhi Leonard goes down with a season-ending injury. And what does he do? On the road, Game 5 in Utah. Whoever wins this game potentially takes the series. What does he do? Puts up 37 and 16 in order to take the series lead. And then in Game 6, again, people still counting him out. He puts up 28, doing something that has never been done in Clippers franchise history by beating the top-seeded Jazz in order to help the Clippers advance to their first ever conference finals in their franchise's history. Not to mention going against the Suns in Game 5 of that conference finals, of their first ever conference finals. He puts up 41 on the road in order to save their season as they was just on the verge of being eliminated. But say whatever you want, just face the facts. At the end of the day, he has a legit case to be on the top 75 all-time list.